through storms, unshaken, unbowed. Through trials and verdicts, still standing proud. A titan in the tempest, against the raging crowd. He's got a vision for the future, gonna shout it aloud. Changing the wind, it's coming fast. A new foundation built to last. Cryptocurrency's the key, make the big switch. Power to the people, time to teach the rich. Legal battles can't hold him, he's moving on. With plans so bold, from dusk till dawn. He's rewriting the rules, a new dawn's day. From the hands of the few to the people's way. Say goodbye to all chains, embrace the new. A financial revolution, fair and true. For the workers, the dreamers, side by side. In Trump's new era, let freedom rise. Changing the wind, it's coming fast.
Welcome, everyone, to the Crazy Cryptonaut channel. I am Zester, and thank you guys so much for joining this afternoon. Definitely got a fun one to talk about today, and something that I've been seeing a lot of concern, worries, thoughts, etc. about throughout a variety of different communities. A lot of folks are very, very worried about the idea of quantum computing. They saw the recent news regarding Google and some other companies in terms of their quote unquote quantum computers and the effects that they're going to have on the world. And so we're going to talk about that. Of course, I'm going to be here to answer any questions folks may have about cryptocurrency. And really, we're going to focus on whether quantum computing is a danger to us in the crypto world, whether it's just a more of an existential danger to human society, or whether it's just absolutely nothing to worry about. And so we'll get into that one. But first things first, let's say some hellos. And what's up, Kukla? I am glad to see that you're feeling all right. I hope everything is going well. Thank you so much for being here. What's up, Gary? Yeah, Gary, you're definitely going to have to work on the certification jokes for today. There was a lot of worry. Luckily, the 6th of 2025, January 6th, 2025, has actually gone particularly well. Particularly well for those living in Canada and particularly well for those living in the United States. It's been a good day. It's been a good day. Hopefully, we start to get very used to winning very, very soon. Sorry to hear that, Gary. Snowed in. Lots of folks in the States, I think, are in the same situation. What's up, Mile High Trish? And happy Monday to you as well. Thank you so much for joining us and everything that you do. What's up, Crazy Chester? Saying hello, Zester mods and fellow Cryptonauts. Hope your week is starting off very well. What's up, Flying Squirrel? All right, guys, I will probably be a little quick with saying hellos today. I hope I don't miss too many folks. What's up, Captain Spiffy? What's up, man? Well, I got to stop for a Gary 7 joke. Why did the company quit certifying its professionals every 2 months? They got tired of all the protesting. All right, Gary, that's definitely a hardcore dad joke. That's a hardcore dad joke. Oh, welcome, Troy and Bobby Cooper, saying I finally made it on a live. Glad to have you, Troy and Bobby. Very glad to have you. Welcome, Savvy. Oh, Jeremy. Welcome, Jeremy. Oh, Zester is the best. Thank you so much, Troy and Bobby. I don't know whether it's Troy or Bobby that's leaving the compliment, so I don't know who to thank properly. Gary Seven. All the time I'm scrolling through and I have to stop for the jokes. I spent a year writing a romance novel where two blood cells meet and fall in love. It never got published. It was all in vain. That's a good one, Gary. That's definitely one for the book. That is definitely one for the book. All right, guys. I'm scrolling through quickly. Hopefully, I don't miss any jokes or any quality questions, although this one is an interesting one. Gary Sevens, Esther, the big word today is certification. What do you predict for crypto after today? I did notice crypto surging around 1 p.m. Eastern Standard today. It did start to surge. And so I actually thought that was very interesting. And the reason that I thought it was interesting is because that means that a certain amount of investors, people have dollars sitting around, were genuinely worried that it would not be certified. Otherwise, it doesn't really make sense for it to be an indication. And of course, folks in our community were a little bit worried about it being certified. We were, but what it really proves in my mind is that it wasn't just us. It wasn't just us that were worried. It was folks that are sitting all across the aisle were genuinely worried. There were Democrats that were worried that it wasn't going to be certified. Otherwise, we would not have seen the general market trend that we did right after the moment. And in that way, I think it was somewhat revealing. Somewhat revealing. Very, very excited for it. I did not have much doubt. I did kind of expect that there might be a bit of anarchy around the event. And yes, for those that are curious, I do have a guest cat today. He is currently visiting because he needed a place to stay. And so for anyone that's curious, this is Tommy in Spanish, or Tommy in English. And so right now we have in the house a Tino, a Tina, and a Tommy. Essentially, I'm establishing an Italian street gang at this point in time, judging by the names. I've got an Italian mafia being formed down in Puerto Rico at the moment. But Tommy very much likes hanging out with me, and hopefully he's going to leave my hair alone, because he has a big thing for harassing and playing with my hair, or at least he has for the past day or so. Welcome, Janelle. Janelle Luan Voyil. My apologies if I mispronounced anything in that, Janelle. But welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. Janelle Luan. Hi, Zester. I have a question about a Bitcoin platform. I hope I wasn't scammed, but I have a couple questions for you. Could you please DM me? Well, Janelle, if you could go ahead and actually ask in the chat specifically about the Bitcoin platform, I can probably help you really quick, and I can help you very, very soon. As soon as I see that question pop up in chat, Janelle, I'll be happy to jump in and get you an answer. And so I may be able to help you out really quick. Oh, welcome, Love Trumpy. Welcome, welcome. NM Hiker. Howdy, NM. And NM Hiker says, yay, I have missed you. Been taking care of my very sick mom. I'm very, very sorry to hear about the mom. And definitely, folks, prayers going out to Hiker's mom. But I'm very glad that you're here also, and I hope that she's doing well. What's up, Linda Hearn? Welcome, welcome. And ADHD, welcome, guys. All right. Oh, there we see David. Thank you so much for joining, and definitely for the apple. Welcome, Charlene and Miss Jeannie. Sorry, guys, I got to catch up. Farmer Deb, welcome, welcome. We need to jump into the news today. we need to jump into the news. Yes, of course, very important to cover. Uh, Please remember, guys, the content in this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes and is not intended to provide financial advice. Please consult with a financial professional before making investment decisions. That is a very important one. And thank you so much, Kukla, for ensuring that I cover it. What's up, musical lady? And 1 second, 1 second. I will be right back. Somebody is knocking at the door, and I've got to go see. Well, yeah, I think they're just dropping off mail. I'll be right back. All right. All right. Oh, the cat definitely does. And Gigi, no, unfortunately, we did get kicked off of Discord. All right, guys. I'm going to catch up. And yes, Mary, I definitely do need a ring doorbell. Wasn't certain what was happening. It was nothing more than mail. So I was right, but also I went running for nothing. All right, guys, let's go ahead and jump in to news and also to discuss quantum computing because I feel like a lot of folks out there have been very, very worried about what quantum computing is going to mean for the future of technology, whether it's cryptocurrency, whether it's our voting system. There's so many things to worry about, or that the media has convinced us we need to be worried about when it comes to the advent of this new technology. And there really isn't a lot to be worried about. Well, there's a whole lot to be worried about. And also, most of the things that folks are concerned of is not. And so it's going to make for an interesting conversation. Absolutely. All right. Well, let me go here first. ZooTube 2024. Well, welcome, ZooTube. Will you please inform your group that the arbitrage for XRP or AI crypto sites are a scam? They say sponsor site on YouTube. When you follow the exchange, they use forces, KYC. It looks legit. ZooTube, actually, thank you very much for bringing that one up. That is a great thing for folks to be aware of. You will very often see advertisements that say that they can either use your crypto with some kind of an arbitrage bot or something of that nature, or that they can get you crypto for cheaper than it's currently trading. Whenever you see things like that, they very often look quite legit nowadays. They look legitimate. My apologies for the saying there. They look very legitimate. They look like substantial businesses. And this occurs regularly, even in advertisements. Keep in mind that there are not really opportunities to get XRP for cheaper than what it's currently trading, or for there to be very successful arbitrage bots. There aren't. I know of arbitrage bots that do work, but they are extremely high level and they come with extremely high levels of risk. And so, yes, ZooTube, absolutely, folks. Whenever you see those advertisements talking about arbitrage with XRP, or they're going to use an AI arbitrage bot, the artificial intelligence is going to trade your crypto. Yes, AI is very intelligent, probably more intelligent than just about all of us, even maybe all of us combined. But the folks selling the so-called AI bots, those are just scammers. Because if anybody had an AI arbitrage bot that printed money, do you think they would share it with the rest of us? Do you think they'd sell it? No, you wouldn't need to. Why would you sell a bot that makes you infinite amounts of money? I wouldn't let anybody know about that. I'd keep making money just like everybody else in the world would. And so keep in mind, whenever you see a trading bot or any of those advertisements, if their bot worked, they wouldn't be advertising or selling it. They'd be using it. They're advertising and selling it because it don't work. If it worked, they would just use it. They wouldn't tell anybody else about it. All right, Miss Jeannie, breaking news. This is huge. The U.S. Federal Reserve top banking regulator announced his early resignation Monday, avoiding a confrontation with President-elect DJT, who can now pick his replacement. That is actually very big news, Miss Cheney. For those that are not aware, when a Federal Reserve appointee is placed by the president is not legally allowed to remove the Federal Reserve chairman until the end of their term. And so this is an interesting one because we have Jerome Powell at this point in time. And he was actually appointed by Donald J. Trump during his first term. Now, of course, we know over those years that Jerome Powell did not necessarily help out with a lot of what Trump was planning on doing. But Trump never had a way of unseating him. And so it's very important when you hear about Federal Reserve appointees actually backing out, because legally they cannot be removed. Should it be possible for the president to remove one? Yes, but it's not. And so in that way, that's actually very, very big news, Miss Jeannie. Welcome, Speed Racer. Welcome, welcome. All right. Let's jump back, though, and let's check out, as we typically do, let's see where the crypto market's at before we jump in to quantum computing. And so Bitcoin sitting back over 101,000. And actually, this is an important one when we look at what time of the day. And so this morning, Bitcoin went from 98,000 to 102,000 in a matter of 2 hours. 2 hours flat. And so a lot of the boom actually kind of occurred prior to certification and things of that nature. What it seems like is if there was an inference that it was going to occur, there were news reports coming out at that point saying that it was all going to happen and that it wasn't going to be a problem. And so somewhere right around the news going ahead and putting that out, we started to see the bump. Which is the funny thing, the mainstream news does still seem to have the greatest effect on economic markets, even though a lot of folks know that the mainstream media is selling a buttload of lies. We still, for some reason, trust them with financial information and financial news. Why? I am not certain. But it seems to be a universal truth. Folks will disagree or disbelieve a lot of the news stories in regards to, say, global politics. But very often, folks still seem to trust the economic news. And when I say this, of course, I'm talking about the mainstream investor, the person that isn't very aware of what's going on. What they do know is that the mainstream media said this was happening, and they responded. And so, yes, things are looking good. We've got XRP sitting at 241. We also saw a very, very similar, matter of fact, it's the exact same time. We saw XRP sitting at 9:26 Eastern Standard this morning, suddenly take the bump to 9:44 with a pretty straight green line to indicate just how precipitous the rise was. And in that way, all of the cryptocurrencies have followed the same. You can go through, what is it? Oh, well, look, it happens to be 920. And so you can go across the board. We saw this across Ethereum, Bitcoin, XRP, maybe even BNB. I hadn't checked BNB with that one. No, BNB did not see the same kind of general increase around that time period, which makes sense. BNB is kind of on the outs with the US federal government. It seems as if the Trump family is aligning itself with Ethereum and XRP and Bitcoin, and much less with Binance. And so we did not see that same rise, but we saw an essentially identical chart between Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP, which my takeaway is, well, that's where a lot of folks are saying, okay, it's for certain, Trump's in, it's happening. These are the things that Trump's companies have bought in the form of World Liberty Financial. They bought Ethereum. They bought, and they're on Ethereum. They bought Chainlink, and they bought Aave down here. And with Aave is another Ethereum token. They also are keeping a lot of their funds in Bitcoin, and they've been having meetings with Brad Garlinghouse from XRP. Seems like a lot of focus is going on right here. All right, though. I did see that question. Janelle Luann Voyille. Did you at any point specify what the name of the platform was out of curiosity? But Janelle says, after I tried to withdraw, they wanted to verify my driver's license, which I did. 72 hours later, successful. Then they still did not believe the account belonged to me, so they required an 11% deposit. No, Janelle, it's a scam. 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 You do not ever have to put money in to get your money back, much less 11% of your deposit. Janelle, I'm very sorry that this has happened to you, and I hope that it was not a lot of money, but it's a scam. You do not ever have to put money in order to get your money out. That's not how things work. And so I'm very sorry. I hope it was a small amount of money, Janelle, but ultimately, yeah, I'm just sorry to hear it. I hope that in the future, please use Coinbase. Please use one of the trusted exchanges. Are they perfect? No, but they're not scams. That's pretty much the best way to put it. They're not scams, but they're not perfect. 11% deposit of what I earned on the trade, and I had to do it within 30 days, and then they would refund it all back. Janelle, they're just stealing more money. They're just trying to steal more money from you. I'm sorry. I am very sorry, but I just do not. Unfortunately, there's just not a lot to really do about it. Once that's happened in our modern world right now, our law enforcement and our government refuses to do anything about prosecuting these crimes. And so in that way, I can probably find the guy who did it. Janelle. And you know what? Even if I told the FBI I gave them his passport, his address, his mama's maiden name, they still would not do anything to rectify it. And I know that, Janelle, because I have done it in the past and I continue to try to do it. But unfortunately, until we get to a point where our governments and our law enforcement agencies actually want or are actually forced to pursue the crimes that are committed on the blockchain, we're not going to see a change in it. And that's why it's so important with Trump coming into office that we see major changes in terms of the regulation, and we see our law enforcement agencies suddenly get the prod necessary to go after these people. It occurs far, far too often. Far, far too often. All right. Let's jump forward, though. We're going to go ahead and jump into quantum computing. And let's go ahead and actually start. Oak Ridge Exascalar frontier system named world's most powerful supercomputer on the top 500. And so this is an old article, but for the longest time, the most powerful computer that's ever existed has actually been held in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. Oak Ridge, Tennessee is a very, very, very interesting place, considering it houses not only US supercomputers, but also a large, large portion of United States nuclear research and capabilities. On top of that, there are a lot of beliefs that Oak Ridge also focuses on biochemistry and a large amount of other things. But we're not going to get into all the conspiracies about the Oak Ridge facility in Tennessee. If there are not videos out there that already kind of cover that, then I guess that's something I need to talk about. But this facility has already been very much in the zeitgeist of weird places, where weird things that the government doesn't really like to talk to us about are going on, not on the same level as in Area 51, but it's absolutely a major concentration of a lot of United States government research and development. And it has for the longest time had what's effectively the most powerful supercomputer on the planet. Even to this day, it's still the only one that's genuinely been proven in the same way. And so, now, even when it has gone out, the Oak Ridge National Laboratory System is officially the world's fastest supercomputer and the first to break the exascale barrier. Supercomputers that are capable of at least a billion floating point operations per second. And that's a lot. Now, it also consists of 74 cabinets, each weighing in at 8,000 pounds, 9,408 HPE Cray X nodes. Each which has a single AMD CPU. This thing is worth millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars just in copper, silver, gold, and the other precious metals necessary to even create it. And even at the time when it was released, there was a strong belief that China had already managed to break that point and had far stronger ones. And so that was a supercomputer. A supercomputer can process a billion operations per second. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's way more than a trillion per second, by the way. And at that point, I think we're looking at something like a Google. We're going to have to start making up terms for units at that point. Insanely fast. Insanely fast. But that is not quantum computing. That's not even close to quantum computing. And so what we do have is a very, very, very detailed explanation of what quantum computing is. and I'm not going to read through all of it. Just because I put it together, and the more I went through, I realized this isn't really helping. But what is quantum computing? Imagine a traditional computer as a very fast, very reliable librarian who can look up one book at a time. They do this very quickly and in a highly organized way, but they're limited to handling information in a straightforward and linear manner. These computers process information in bits, which are like tiny off and on switches, represented as either a 1 or an 0. And what quantum computing can far more easily be defined as, and what I think is probably the best definition that I've somehow gotten to, is that what quantum computing should be viewed as, or an everyday analogy for you to view it, is that think about your normal computer, what you're using right now, whether you're listening to me on a phone or you're listening to me on a PC, an Apple, whatever it is. That's classical computing. You don't have quantum computing process. You don't have any of that. It's just normal computing. Stronger chips, more power, more battery life, more processing. But if you think of classical computing as trying to find your way out of a maze by walking down each path until you find the exit, it's methodical, but can take a long time. Quantum computing is like being able to take every possible path in the maze at the same time. And in that way, instantaneously, you would know the right path. And so, when we think about what quantum computing allows, is it allows for a degree of processing power where I would say, hey, I would like to solve the issue of cancer. And I'm using cancer as an example because a lot of promise is in the realm of medical technologies when it comes to not only quantum computing, but just artificial intelligence. But very often, folks associate these ideas with quantum computing. And so say I was trying to solve breast cancer, and I was just going to target a quantum computer at proposing the solution, the treatment that would cure breast cancer. Well, that quantum computer would be capable of processing and going through every different possible treatment outcome and innovating on its own when paired with AI to be able to think of different ways to solve or cure cancer that we had not even thought of, but do all of them at the exact same time. AKA, instantaneously, it could process every bit of scientific knowledge and information and data we had on cancer instantaneously, and then begin processing through what different ways we could cure it instantaneously. It could do that if it were a true quantum computer. And so we're talking about a level of technology that has never been seen. And in all honesty, I know that we've seen some stories. We're not really there. But I went and I decided, hey, let's talk to the smartest AI about supercomputers and quantum computing. And so, actually, our explanation and our information today came from artificial intelligence. And this is artificial intelligence going through and explaining what quantum computing is, and actually going through and kind of pointing out some of the different things that it would be capable of doing. And the first one is the reason that we have the title today: cryptography. Quantum computing would be capable of breaking cryptography or creating an unbreakable encryption. It would be capable of both. because it would be able to explore every possible outcome, every possible solution to the maze, all at the same time. And in that way, it would make breaking a code very easy. It would make drug discovery, simulating molecules and chemical reactions to create new medicines faster, optimization to make logistics easier. It could train artificial intelligence. And then, of course, the woke AI's got to add in climate science, because also it's not just about climate change. A supercomputer or a quantum computer combined with artificial intelligence would be capable of immediately figuring out whether that hurricane was planning on going to Florida or that hurricane was planning on going to New England. It would be capable. And so, what I also had it do was go through and think through a few different ways of trying to explain it. And a few of them I liked, and a few of them I didn't. But let's go back to the maze one first. Solving a maze. Imagine you are in a giant hedge maze. Gigantic. A classical computer is every single path at the same time. A quantum computer is like spreading a magical mist through the maze, which instantly shows you the shortest path out. It has already tried every single option, all instantaneously. Now, for the coin analogy, think of a classical bit as a coin lying flat on a table. It's either heads or tails, a 1 or a 0. A qubit, however, is like a coin spinning in the air. While it's spinning, it's both heads and tails at the same time. This ability to be in multiple states at once, called superposition, is what makes quantum computing special. It is, if you've ever heard of Schrodinger's cat, Schrodinger's cat is a psychology theory essentially thrown out there, or question that has been proposed. And what Schrodinger proposed was, if you were to put a cat inside of a box and you were to seal the box, and then you were to ask somebody, is the cat alive? They would not be capable of telling you, is the cat alive or not? It's impossible to know without opening the box. And in that way, what superposition and what quantum computing is capable of doing, it's capable of literally interacting in a world where that cat is both alive and not at the same time, identically during the same linear thought. It's capable of processing both what is and what is not. And in that way, it's very, very scary to kind of imagine. We're talking about something that is beyond intelligence. It's capable of almost essentially predicting or foreseeing the future. In the form of, it's capable of looking at all of the different options and then processing through what is the most likely or what's going to occur. And that is very exciting because of the things I've talked about. It's very exciting for the idea that quantum computing paired with artificial intelligence would be capable of going through and solving a lot of the problems that have ailed humanity for all of our time here. But that's not what you probably hear about quantum for. You probably hear about quantum in relation to a new financial system, a quantum financial system based off of quantum computing. And in that way, what we have is a very interesting conversation to get into. Now, I would first of all state, remember, quantum computing does not currently exist. And yes, you have seen Google, you have seen Intel, you have seen a variety of different companies come out and put forward what were called in the news quantum computers. They are not quantum computers. They are just very, very, very fast computers that are on their way to achieving quantum computing. They're on their way. It's maybe it will be tomorrow, maybe it will be in a decade, maybe it will be in a century. And in that way, it's something to think about. Quantum computing is coming. For many folks, it will occur in easily within our lifespans. It will occur because we're kind of on the cusp of getting there. But a lot of folks worry with quantum computing and our finances. And something that I would just kind of like to talk to folks about. The reason that we've learned a little bit about quantum computing today, it's not because we're going to dive in to trying to learn about all the technology and how it works and everything else. This is more a matter of a thought experiment. If I develop a computer, a quantum computer, and say I am China. I'm China, and I have just invented a quantum computer. It is capable of processing and figuring out essentially everything that classical computing has ever done in a matter of a second. Which means if I have a quantum computer, I can take over the entire NORAD system. I could take over every nuclear bomb on the planet, even the ones that are programmed in old technology, because a lot of the different systems are actually programmed in older technologies in order to make them more difficult to hack in the present. It wouldn't matter. It's a quantum computer. It's capable of processing every potential outcome in a second, as if there were a magical mist that showed you all the right answers. And if that were to occur, the last thing we need to be worried about is our money. And that's really where I kind of wanted to go to today, because folks very often worry about quantum computing breaking cryptography. Cryptography is essentially the older version, or what blockchain technology is built off of. It's a cryptographic code. And so, if I were capable of breaking any cryptography, aka the blockchain, and I were to use that to say crash Bitcoin, example, and I were to use that technology just to crash Bitcoin because I don't like Bitcoin. And maybe that would be what somebody wanted to do. But in all honesty, think about it. If someone developed quantum computing, I could hack into every nuclear system on the planet in the same second. You're telling me that I'm worried about Bitcoin? Why would I be worried about Bitcoin? If I just suddenly developed this technology, I would own the world. I don't need your Bitcoin. I would own the world. And any country or any company that somehow manages to achieve quantum computing independently is going to have the capability to do whatever they want. They're not going to come after your Bitcoin. They're not worried about it. It's not going to be a thing. And blockchain technology is the most resistant current technology to quantum computing because it, at the minimum, would require someone to essentially hack every computer at the same time and then be capable of sending them commands all at the same time. It's far harder than if I developed a quantum computer and you have your money at Bank of America. It gone. It real gone. It wouldn't take a second. And so blockchain technology and the future of our financial system needs to not be built on quantum. It needs to be quantum resistant. And that's a very, very important distinction. Folks often say, well, we're looking towards a future where computing power and hackers and everything else are going to be capable of exploiting just about anything that is today's security protocols. Okay, what we need is quantum resistant. We don't need quantum computing. We need quantum resistant systems. And we need to understand that the threat of quantum computing is very similar to the threat of artificial intelligence. It's very similar to, well, artificial intelligence really is the best example. It's very similar. Ultimately, it's going to continue to be developed. We need to pay attention to how it's developed, and we need to make certain that we are not on the back foot. The United States needs to be at the forefront of quantum computing technology in the same way that we need to be at the forefront of artificial technology development and blockchain technology development. It's not the boogeyman that many people kind of give it the credence of. Ultimately, it's just as big of a worry as AI. It's just as big of a worry as blockchain gone wrong. These technologies can be utilized for extreme degrees of good. We can cure cancer. We can cure human ailments. We can increase the longevity of human life. We can solve a lot of the world's problems with this technology. Or this technology could be used for warfare. And that's the same exact story you can go throughout all of human history for. Remember, Nobel, named after the guy that literally they named the Nobel Peace Prize after. He invented dynamite because he envisioned dynamite as being used to create infrastructure and building projects that would better the lives of humanity. How'd that go for him? I think it was Alfred Nobel. And needless to say, his invention was designed for good, but it was not used for good. And in that same way, we have to look at these technologies. Quantum computing fits into the same category. It can be used for good or it can be used for bad. Same as AI, the same as blockchain. It's not inherently evil. Humans are where the evil comes in. And so for those out there worried about quantum computing breaking Bitcoin or breaking XRP or breaking Ethereum or anything of that nature and just destroying the general technology, I would say you don't really have that much to worry about. Because if that were to occur, you should be far more worried about the fact that every electronic device in your house suddenly decided that it doesn't like you. Exactly. Savvy, be far more worried about the Terminator. Savvy, blockchain technology is very close to quantum resistant. It is currently the closest cryptography system towards quantum resistance. And so in that form and fashion, is it there yet? No. Some blockchains claim to be quantum resistant. Well, it's easy to claim that you're quantum resistant when no quantum computer exists to test it. It's the same idea as I can go down to the bar and claim that I could arm wrestle a bear. That's a pretty safe claim to make when I live in Puerto Rico and there are no bears here. It's a pretty safe claim to make. But ultimately, I would not win that arm wrestling contest with that bear. But it's very hard to prove that when the bear doesn't exist yet. And so in that way, Savvy, it's difficult. We're not certain. Everybody's focused on Mrs. Pac-Man back there is what I'm seeing from Captain Spiffy. Well, Miss Pac-Man is very interesting. Gary 7, I don't want AI to do my writing and creativity so that I can mop the floor. I want AI to mop the floor so that I can write and be creative. Gary, I agree. That's what this technology needs to be used for. It needs to be used as a way to take human intelligence, human creativity, and ingenuity and take it to another level. That's what we need it to do. And that is the future if the powers that be and us choose to force the powers that be to use it that way. That's what it should be. AI and these quantum computers should be used to go through and figure out these problems so that humans don't have to waste our time doing them. But there's always the worry that a malicious actor were ever to take control of a quantum computer. Please keep in mind, and another way of kind of going through a lot of the quantum worries is think about the worry about nuclear bombs. Nuclear proliferation has been a worry since essentially right after Hiroshima and Nagasaki. It has been a worry. The idea that other countries or terrorists or the like would ever achieve the ability to create a nuclear bomb. The technology necessary to truly enrich uranium to the necessary concentration. Terrifying prospect. Matter of fact, a lot of people here probably ducked under their desks in school under the hope that duck and cover was going to save them from a potential Soviet nuclear attack. Was it going to work? No, it wasn't going to work. But it was truth to generations of human beings. It was truth. And folks lived their lives terrified of the prospect that a nuclear bomb or a nuclear attack or a nuclear war would suddenly occur. And I think that there's something to kind of say about the similarities here. Folks live in worry that quantum computing is also going to have the same kind of effect. Folks live in worry that artificial intelligence is going to have the same kind of effect. Ultimately, these things will only have a major effect if only one person has them. If one country develops a quantum computer and no other country does, then you should be very worried, unless you live in that country. It's the same idea. And in many ways, you can kind of relate it to the Cold War in certain fashions. It's a technology race. It's Cold War 2.0. Now we're not focused on developing bigger bombs. We're focused on developing smarter computers. And whoever ends up with the smartest computer is going to effectively be crowned the Cold War 2.0 winner. And unfortunately, that's just the truth. Think about the drones that are flying above American cities. What do you think the next step for those drones are? The next step is for those drones to not be controlled by a human, but to be controlled by an AI. And that AI to be running on the most advanced computer program possible. Say a quantum computer. That is the new Cold War. And that's why you see drones flying above your cities. That's why you see drones being used throughout every major military conflict around the world, whether you're in Ukraine, Israel, whether you're the Houthis trying to bomb shipping cargo ships going through. It's the same idea, the same exact idea. Yeah, Mary Way. Nope, Alexa still won't do the dishes yet. And yes, Darlene, we do need to be smarter humans. And we just need to not, we don't necessarily need to be smarter human beings. We need to be more aware and more knowledgeable human beings. Ultimately, a lot of these things are easy to discern when you know. And so something that I would actually throw out to folks, and I'm seeing the time now, and I'm gonna, I wanted to talk about coffee for a second, but I'll probably leave that for another time. But something that I would highly recommend folks look into. So everyone here has seen the AI creations that I've made. We can make one right now. Make a image that in an epic way illustrates the idea of quantum computing in the abstract with exquisite details. Folks here have already seen how the AI technology is advancing, what it's capable of doing. And for most of us, we started learning about this right when it occurred. We didn't start learning about this right when it occurred in the mainstream media, right when they finally gave us access to it. Something that I would highly recommend, and I actually was doing this the other day and it blew my mind. Go back and watch movies and animated works and things of that nature that occurred prior to the supposed advent of artificial intelligence. And look at the things that you've learned. You've learned what to look for now to tell if something is not real. You've learned how. You've started to notice when someone looks a little off, or their face is distorted, or animations are odd. You've learned now to notice those things. What I would highly recommend is go back and actually watch movies from somewhere around 2008 to somewhere around 2018 and start to watch just some of the animations, the movies, and things of that nature. And I think you'll start to notice something that's very odd. Very, very odd. Now that you are aware and you do see these things that are being faked by technology, go back and watch some of them in that time frame. And what I think that many folks here will likely see is that it seems as if this AI technology was already being used. It already existed. We just didn't have access to it. They weren't letting us play with it. But when you start to look at a lot of the different, very clearly AI-generated videos of today, and you take that knowledge and you look back to a certain time frame, I have a very, 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 very sincere belief that you will start to question whether some of these technologies have not been around for a long time and we're just suddenly getting access to them. I would highly, highly consider the possibility that maybe it's the same idea with quantum computing and some of these others, that maybe they already exist. But one thing we do know is if they do exist, there's more than one. Because if there was just one, remember what I talked about, that person would have already taken over. And so, lots to think about, lots to kind of speculate on. Thank you guys so much for joining this evening. Please come over and join on the original Mark Z, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Maybe I'll chat with him and see what he's going to talk about. But otherwise, love you guys. Thank you so much. And I will talk to you very, very soon.